Are you ready for the psychology of this? I am. Let's do this. We have a good friend. What is his name? Stormy Ascent. He left a comment on a video I made called Balding. Maybe your need to be accepted makes you invisible to society. And here's what he says, quote, in an earlier video you suggested that you are a hypocrite for being happy to have hair at a class reunion. I think it goes beyond a reunion. You're obviously not going to be Norwood 6 or 7, and as a Norwood 2.5, it's easy for you to preach. You say you don't want to shave the hair because that's not your identity. Thing is, everybody feels that way until there's no other option. It's like a rich man telling the poor that money isn't everything. I do like the human psychology aspect of the videos. My theory is that everybody wants to belong the same way, but we have different coping strategies, some more effective than others. People say be confident, but that confidence is about adopting a better strategy, like making yourself approachable and believing that other people think positively about you. If you think other people respond to you well, they probably will. And it works the other way around too, end quote. So already, let me just say this. You all know, I'm 36, pushing 37 at this point. What you just heard in that comment, I don't know how old Stormy Ascent is, but that's more wisdom than I've had most of my life right there. That's quite a perspective to envy. Even a couple years ago when I started making these videos, I didn't have that kind of perspective. That's amazing. So I have a lot of admiration for Stormy Ascent for saying these things. And yeah, great points are being made all the way through it. It is easier to say, oh yeah, I'll just shave it off, because I really did believe that time was coming in the next couple of years where I was going to be like a Norwood 4 Vertex and I'd have to. And now I'm starting to realize, wow, I had misdiagnosed myself on what my actual hairline was. And I mean, it could even be 2 more decades before I'm even at that point. It could be. Don't know. None of us know. That's part of the fascination about these videos, is we're trying to figure this out. And all my theories are trying to help us figure this out. I want to address the part about the confidence. A great quote saying, confidence is about adopting a better strategy. If you think other people respond to you well, they probably will. And it works the other way around too. So this weekend, as you know, I was at my parents' house. And I made them watch a couple episodes of the show, Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee on Netflix that I keep talking about with Jerry Seinfeld. And we happened to watch the Steve Martin episode because I knew my dad especially was a big fan of Steve Martin. You know, back in the 70s, especially when Steve Martin was a big deal. And Steve Martin was talking about in his stand-up in the 70s that his whole concept is they were coming out of Vietnam War and he wanted to be the exact type of comedy that everyone needed. So he dressed up in a white suit and he pretended to be this really confident guy that knew exactly what he was doing the whole leg of the way, the whole leg of the show. And Steve Martin admits he was totally faking that confidence. There was basically, he became a character, and that character was a very confident comedian, which Steve Martin actually was not. And so as Steve Martin is telling this story to Jerry Seinfeld, they go back and forth a bit, and ultimately they decide this. Ultimately, there's truly no difference in faking confidence and actually being confident. If you can convince someone that you're confident, they're not going to know the difference. It's the exact same thing. And I've never really thought about that before. I've talked about faking it till you make it. But what an amazing concept. As someone who may be struggling with self-esteem and identity issues that's starting to lose their hair at a much younger age than I am, what if you were able to do that? To be confident anyway, and then you ultimately get the same reaction you'd get if you had the full head of hair, if not even a better one, because you wouldn't have had that ability to fake your confidence otherwise. See, so, and now we're getting into some paradoxes, because there are people that are going to watch my video and say, Nick, I hear what you're saying, but I just can't relate to you because you're 36, you're Norwood 2.5, but Nick, you don't understand, I'm 20, and I am a true Norwood 3 or 4. You can't understand what I'm going through. And I'd be the first to say, I agree. I can't know exactly what you're going through. And I never will, because of what age you are already going through this. But kind of going back to the example that Stormy left, can a rich man say to a poor man, money's not everything? I can see the point there. But at the same time, what if a poor man reads a book written by the rich man and the rich man's telling the poor man how to become rich? Does that make the information any less true? If it's a path that's going to help that poor man get out of debt, learn to start saving money and investing, and work his way out of lower income bracket into middle class, ultimately to upper class, because he's managing his money so well and investing. Now, it didn't mean that the rich man was a hypocrite just because he maybe even was born rich. As long as the information connected to the other man who didn't have money and it worked for him, it worked for him. So I think that's the important thing to hear. Don't let yourself get emotionally caught up in, Nick, I want to believe you, but you have too much hair and you're too old for this to be true. Don't think that way. That is sabotaging yourself. What I want to challenge you to think is, okay, I get it. Nick has more hair than me. He's older than me. But what he's saying is true. This whole thing about if you fake like you're confident, it's the same thing as having it. I can get something from that. I can have an advantage in my youth that even Nick didn't have. So that's the challenge. Look past me. Look past my story and just listen to the words. If the words are true, the words are true. And if you're going to look at me and say I've got too much hair to be relevant, then what help are you going to get? Do you have to wait until you find someone younger than you with less hair than you telling you the same exact things as I am before it's finally relevant enough? No. If the words are true, the words are true, no matter what voice they're coming out of. So that would be the challenge in that. I think we can all be challenged by this comment that was left today. So ultimately, faking confidence is the same as having it. If I haven't convinced you, then let me leave you with this. When I started these YouTube channel videos about hair loss, I didn't even know what I was doing as a YouTuber. I just turned on the camera and said, I'm going to shoot 3 videos a day for a month straight. And after that, I'll have about 100 videos and I'll look and see which ones are doing the best. And I'll start doing lots of videos on that one thing. And you guessed it. I made a video years ago called Tips to Downplaying a Receding Hairline. And I didn't know what I was talking about. I just turned on the camera and just pretended like I knew what I was talking about. And it's still one of my most popular videos. If you go back and watch that video, you're going to see a guy who was faking it. I was faking the confidence that I actually knew what I was talking about. But thousands of people believed it. And ultimately, I've made a channel based on that. Now, I'm not saying that my channel is not true and all my hair loss theories. I have built those on top of fake confidence in that one video you see. Every video you've seen since then, I've made a couple thousand, I guess. I took a little bit of fake confidence and went and brought it this far. It doesn't mean that what I'm saying is not true. And see, even then, don't get caught up in where it came from. And because that's even what Stormy's talking about. He will have different ways of getting there, is what he was saying. And so don't judge a man for how he got there, the coping strategy. If ultimately what I'm saying is helping you, then that's all that matters. But just imagine, maybe I've just redeemed myself. Maybe I'm no longer a hypocrite because I too faked it until I made it. If you go back and watch that video, Tips to Downplaying a Receding Hairline, where I'm wearing a pink flannel shirt, that one, I didn't even know what I was talking about as a YouTuber, and I just thought I made stuff off the top of my head. Oh yeah, don't comb it back, don't comb it down, common sense stuff, but people connected to it. If I can fake it till you make it, so can you. Pretending that you have confidence is the same exact thing as actually having it.